Hello, everybody.
Okay, you can hear us okay, Tom?
So far,
Okay, terrific. We'll get started then. Welcome, everyone, to commission meeting this March 13th. We typically start these meetings with a prayer reading or thought and the pledge. Do we have any volunteers that would like to get us a... Okay, Vic, do you want the prayer or the pledge?
I'll do the pledge.
Pledge, okay. Anyone on the prayer?
This is the best part. If nobody
Okay,
says
thank you.
yes,
Laurel,
just volunteer.
Laurel will do us with the prayer, and then Vic will lead us in the pledge. Thank you.
So we both can use your seat, volunteer.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful to be here today as a community to discuss plans and important activities that go on in Utah County. We're very thankful for the community that we live in and the camaraderie that we enjoy as citizens. We pray for thy protection to be over our first responders and those in the military, and pray for their families and appreciate their service and sacrifice on our behalf. We say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to build our agenda first, and then we'll come to the work session from Explore Utah Valley. So with that said, commissioners, items 1 through 9, any items that you'd like to hold for discussion?
I had none.
for me, I have none to hold.
Okay. 10 through 19. I'd like to hold 19 or 20, and 20, excuse me.
I wondered if
Hold
you had.
19 and 20.
I'm good.
Any others?
Nope.
Okay. We need 21 to, let's go all the way to 32. I'll hold item 26.
I wanted
Hold 26.
to hold item 29.
29, of course.
And should we hold number 32 since we have Jim Evans here if he wants to present? It's up to you.
I'm fine either way, just in case you have questions. You have these if you want.
I mean, we always love hearing a report from the Freedom Festival. Okay, so I'll hold 32.
And then,
31, do we know the names?
yes. Yeah, those will be Eric Ellis, yourself, Commissioner Gordon, and Mike Van Sherry.
Okay. Mike
Van
Van
Sherry.
Cherry,
Brandon can spell
And I can
that
get
for
you
you.
the spelling on that. That's
former
a
Linden
difficult name.
City Councilman.
And then on 32, you might have seen a previous version of the agreement that had a typo on it. It just had a difference between the written out dollar amount and the parenthetical dollar amount, but that's been fixed. So the one that, if you refresh your page, you see on the agenda right now is the correct one.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, any others in that section? Okay, then we'll hold item 33 for closed and strike 34, 35, and 36.
Okay. I have us holding regular agenda items number 19, 20, 26, 29, approving 31 on consent with the names of Eric Ellis, Commissioner Gordon, and Mike
Sherry.
Sherry, I'll get that right. I'm holding 32, and then as far as closed meetings, we're going to hold as stated 33, and striking 34, 35, and 36.
Okay. Lee, are you ready for All right, we'll have your work session presentation, please. Yes, thank you.
All right. My name is Lee Adamson. I am the Executive Director at Explore Utah Valley. And thank you for the opportunity that we have to be here today to share some highlights from 2023 from some of the campaigns that Explore Utah Valley worked on to expand the visitor economy here in Utah County. We threw a few videos in that threw some curveballs this way. So we're going to start with one video. I know everyone is excited for spring and ready for spring and summer. So this is just a short video that we have for social media. I think it's about 30 seconds, and one that we use to promote the spring and summer seasons. We didn't take into consideration all the work that it takes to get this on streaming and in here.
Wade handles curveballs very well.
Right? He really has. We're seeing it. If there's no sound, that's totally fine. Anyway, there's some really great imagery of a really great county.
And you've just updated your website, so
Yes.
anyone can.
So anyone can go there.
Check
Yeah.
that out.
UtahValley.com. So with that,
Those are some beautiful, those are beautiful views.
they're beautiful views. They really are. So anyway, we're grateful for the opportunity to be here. We're grateful for the opportunity that's given to us to promote Utah County. It's a great place to promote. We have an amazing team assembled. We are finally back up to the team size that we were pre-COVID, and I couldn't be more happy about that. I do have some help here today, though, in presenting some highlights from 2023. So Charlene Christensen is our Director of Services and Marketing, and Aaron Scott is our Director of Sales. So I just want to give a little bit of time to Charlene first to talk about some of the highlights from the marketing campaigns that we worked on.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. We can go to the next slide.
Oh, okay, right here, Charlene.
Oh, this one. This is just a peek at some of the different marketing initiatives we have for promoting and marketing all of the great things that there are here to do in the county. This slide, I actually realized that the numbers are a little off, but last year we worked on an airport campaign and also our traditional campaign. And when you combine the airport campaign and with the traditional, you'll see the numbers that are recorded on this slide. Our traditional marketing efforts actually have a much higher click-through rate at 18.5%, which is really exciting. We really bolstered our airport campaign, which was more of an awareness campaign, and so the click-through rate wasn't as high, but a lot of individuals were able to see and look at the different things going on at the airport. So let's see. Last year, we wanted to talk to our locals and also the visitors that were in market, and so we gave them an opportunity to experience Utah County in a different sort of way. We gamified visitation to the area, and we called it the Summer Bucket List. And people were able to play on this app and experience different things within the county. We actually had over 1,000 players, and those players represented families and visitors, so you could probably times 4 that number. And they had a lot of fun going to restaurants, going to historical sites, visiting museums, going on hikes, doing over hundreds of different activities. One of our seasons that lacks our visitation is our winter. And last fall, we determined that we wanted to take a look at how we could influence winter visitation to Utah County. And we know that not everyone enjoys skiing or snowboarding, and they're a little bit more passive. And so we set out to incorporate not only skiing and snowboarding at Sundance, but also different types of winter activities. So we worked with a travel magazine, and we also worked with Travel Zoo. And hang on, I'm going to get you some stats on that. With Travel Zoo, we were able to have over 12,000 page views in the different digital that we did with them. We reached over 1.7 million people, and we had a scroll rate of 47%. So that means people were looking at the article and looking at the information provided by Travel Zoo and would scroll down to the bottom. 47% is incredible. It's very successful when you can get anything like that. We had over 573 hours recorded on people reading the information and looking on that site. As mentioned, we actually just turned over our website. We have a whole new look and feel. Last year, our website sessions, you can see the table, how it's just increased since 2020. We actually hit over 1 million sessions on the website, which is really phenomenal. Even during the pandemic, our website continued to grow with the information that we provide to residents and locals about all the different opportunities that are here in Utah County. Some of the top performing pages are listed on this slide, and just the top 5 are our events. People love going to our events section where we scrub all of the different components with the festivals and events and things that are going on in the area to give people an idea of what's happening. And then next on the list is 50 plus date ideas. That's always a huge success for Utah County. Lots of people are out there looking for ideas to do. Our Provo Airport page was another successful page. Festivals in Utah Valley and best family vacation destinations overall.
And I think didn't your most recent email say everywhere that there's an Easter egg hunt?
Yes. Yes.
Is that the newsletter?
Yeah.
One of our socials.
Yeah.
I think I saw it in the newsletter, was every place in Utah Valley that's having an Easter egg hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
And then I'm just going to go through some of these really quickly. We contributed 70 different blog posts in 2023 to our website, which actually gives people finite information on things to do on the weekend, or like the Easter egg hunt and different things like that. Some of things that we like to promote are scenic drives, anything to do with festivals, our hikes. Also 100 cheap free things to do is super popular. Transportation, fall bucket list, things like that. We worked with Utah.com, and we had 7 different types of emails that we utilized through their subscription list to influence not only Utahns, but also visitors that are looking to come to Utah. And we were thrilled with the different results that we received from working with them. Social media is extremely popular, and we have actually almost 63,000 followers in our social media. Our Instagram is one of our beloved accounts, and some of the top posts that we had are these that you see here. Restaurants are super popular, and the fall foliage, we actually had over 1 million views, and super excited about that, and almost 30,000 likes. We do work with collaborators, which helps us become more authentic. We have a newsletter. If you're not a part of our subscription list, you might want to join. Average throughout the year, we had over 23,000 subscribers with an average open rate of almost 41%. The industry standard is 15%.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a huge open rate. That means you're adding a lot of value.
And I'm going to turn it over to Lee.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlene. One opportunity that we've had that's been really just a fun opportunity with the expansion of the Provo Airport is to talk a little bit more about the opportunities there for people to fly into Provo and out of Provo to other destinations. So this campaign, one of the components of it was an NBC Peacock streaming campaign. So we were able to target people in the cities that have daily direct flights or common direct flights. So Orange County, California, San Francisco, Phoenix, San Diego. We were able to target people in those areas that are watching NBC Peacock who have an affinity for outdoor recreation. And for their commercials, they would get one of these videos. So yeah, if you could show this one, that'd be great. While he's bringing that up, there's also a pause screen that you see there. It has a QR code. So it said like pause for vacation. They can scan that on their screen or on their phone or whatever, and it brings them to our website to talk more about the opportunities, how to fly here and what's within a proximity. This video we're about to show is one that's a commercial as well that shows up on Peacock. There is a little bit of lag with this. It's typically smoother. Thank you. All right, so that campaign, as you see here, there were 3.69 million digital impressions and a 97.5% video completion rate, which is pretty big. I'll be honest, when I'm on there, if I can skip past the video, I do. But 97.5 completion rate is great. That was the summer campaign. There was also a winter campaign. I'm gonna go a little bit faster because I know we're getting past the 10 minutes we were given. Again, this shows some of the metrics and results, some of the cities that this was in. Like I said, San Diego, Bay Area, 1.3 million unique views. Also, this shows some of the searches that were made as a result of this, whether it was for flights, lodging, car rental, vacation search. This is another component to the airport campaign. We did something with KUTV. Last summer, starting at the beginning of the summer, we had 12 segments. It always ran on Fridays, so we call it Flyaway Fridays. And it was an opportunity for us to showcase the airport every week, but at the same time, we wanted to invite people from our community so that we could showcase our community as well. So as you see there, we had someone from Timpanogos Cave to talk about things people could do at Timpanogos Cave. The one there with Cosmo and Chad Lewis it actually ran the day before BYU's official entrance into the Big 12, so it talked a lot about visitation with that. But we were able to bring in Sundance and Taste Chocolates and some of our community leaders. Amelia, I believe you did one too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So just gave us a really good opportunity to talk about the airport, but then also the things that there are to do here in the county. One other one that has been really popular is the flight, the Provo Airport flight contest at the BYU football and basketball games. We had someone that would stand on a Provo, as you can see, stand on a Provo banner, and we had banners that changed throughout every game to the different cities. And really the purpose here is to get people who are there at the games, and with BYU having students from many of these destinations, getting them and their family and friends used to flying into Provo as opposed to flying to Salt Lake. So I have had more people comment to me about that competition probably than anything else we've done. Maybe I run with a lot of people that go to BYU games, but that's been really popular and done well for awareness for us. At the same time, we do get a digital takeover in the arena, so you can kind of see there on the scoreboard and around the football stadium, it shows the cities that people are able to fly to. This is a campaign that we did as BYU entered the Big 12, and there were 4 Big 12 schools that came to Provo last year. So this was a targeted campaign that went to people in these markets. So you see Oklahoma there, Red Raiders. It also went to Cincinnati and Iowa State. But the one kind of at the back you can't see, it's a 4-direction swipe. So when it comes up on their phone on social channels, they can swipe if they want to stay or learn more, things like that. But it took them to a page specifically about things that they could do and where they could stay in Provo during that part of the season. So the September games, there's a very different list of things that people can do as opposed to the late November. So we kind of catered that to them. Last here is just some of the community partnerships that we've been working to foster and continue to develop. We work really hard to be visible in the community, to serve. So in 2023, we helped with tulip plant. Well, we organized for our hotel partners and hospitality community partners to help with tulip planting at Thanksgiving Point. We did some community action service projects. We like to have some education for our hotel partners. So we worked on a human trafficking training. Obviously, front desk agents at hotels have a lot of opportunity to help prevent those things. So training them, and then, just being involved in the community. So that's been something we were really working on in 2023 and will continue in 2024. With that, as we move into sales, I just want to pass it over to Aaron Scott, our Director of Sales, to talk a little bit about our group sales effort, and then we'll wrap up.
Perfect. So on our marketing and services side, a lot of the awareness is geared toward our more leisure traveler or keeping our locals updated on all the fun things to do so they're out exploring their own backyard in our county. On the sales side, we work with larger group events. So we work to find qualified meeting planners and sports tournament planners, and we do a lot of educating about Utah County, Provo, our downtown convention center district, all of our meeting venues. And then we help to bring in conferences, events, and sports tournaments into our venues and our hotels to help generate that economic impact into the county. So in 2023, we were involved with booking conferences and sports tournaments, generated an estimated $12.5 million in economic impact, and that will bring in approximately 36,000 plus attendees to Utah Valley. So we love to see them come in. This picture here is one of our hockey tournaments that was in. Some of these groups will hang banners along Center Street. They love the welcome. One thing we hear from our planners a lot is how welcoming Utah Valley and downtown Provo is to their attendees. So we get a lot of great feedback on that. So any of these small touches we can do to make them feel more welcome, we love to provide. Just a few sample events that were booked in 2023. I want to highlight National Association of Landscape Professionals just because they are in this week. They are doing their collegiate landscaping competition. Really fun event. They do some fun stuff. They were actually here in 2017 and everybody had such a great time and raved about it. We were able to bring them back for this year. BYU, of course, fierce competitors in that competition. And then we have a few hockey tournaments, great baseball tournament that actually spans from Provo up into Lehigh using fields, Shingo Prize International Conference that brought people in from all over. So one of the big things we do, our best chance in bringing some of these bigger conferences and events into Utah Valley is face-to-face time with these planners. They are bombarded every day from hotels, destinations, convention centers, all over the country, sometimes all over the world. So it's just getting their attention and educating them. A lot of people know Salt Lake, they know Park City, they don't necessarily know Utah Valley, or even within our state, a lot of people know our area, but they haven't looked at it through the lens of bringing a conference or an event to us. So we spend a lot of time getting in front of these people and educating them and showing what we have to offer. So in 2023, our team attended 21 different conferences that are put on for meeting planners and tournament organizers. We were able to meet and have one-on-one appointments with over 400 planners. And then we also partnered with some of neighboring DMOs in other cities within Utah, and now it's expanded to the Rocky Mountain region. So we've included several in Colorado, Idaho, and I think that's it so far. We're adding a few more. But because of that, at some of these larger sport tournament conferences we attend, we were able to combine to host events that got more face-to-face time with over 75 sports planners that we wouldn't have normally had that time with at the normal conference. So combined efforts there worked really well for us. We're also continuing to work with the Rocky Mountain chapter of a very prominent professional industry association with a lot of planners. Through those efforts, we were able to help in bringing the first Utah event for the association. It's mostly in Denver. That's where the majority of the events for this Rocky Mountain chapter are held. So we were able to work hard with them to bring that in, which really helped highlight Utah Valley amongst all of the other Utah destinations. And then really the thing that's the highlight for us is when we can bring people in to see our valley. It makes all the difference in the world. So we hosted 5 specific networking events in 2023 that brought in 22 planners to be able to see Utah Valley, some of our venues, showcase some of our unique activities. In addition to that, we also had some individual site visits of bringing people in. And then, once we're able to get them to come here, we want to make sure they have a great time. We want to make sure things go smoothly for the planners and that the attendees really enjoy their stay and just love Utah Valley as much as we do. So we have a wide variety of services we offer. You saw the banners in the one picture. That's one service. We do a lot of just educating on restaurant suggestions, transportation information, activities to do, off-site stuff, discount programs we've put together for some of our neighboring businesses. And then we also do microsites. You can see the one we did for the National Association of Landscape Professionals. So this is a customized website. It's housed on our website, but it gives them very specific things to do while they're here, targeted to what area of the valley they're staying in, what dates they're here for, different activities during those dates. If they have hotel blocks, we can put up their hotel links. And then we just love this picture of, this was the Utah Council of Mathematic Teachers. Their conference was in not too long ago, and they really utilized our downtown restaurant. So that was great to see them all out and about and networking. Okay, that's all for me.
I remember in 2017, when the landscape professionals came, I spent 4 of my 12 years at Caterpillar working with the landscape products. So my old coworkers texted me and they were like, "Is this really where you're from? Is this really what it looks like?" Yeah, I mean, it was very shocking for folks from the Midwest.
It was really fun. I vividly remember at that one, there was a group from the University of West Virginia, the Mountaineers, and they were like, "We're known for our mountains, but this is like a whole new level." So it was fun to see them all like.
No, the biggest question I got was, because it was at BYU at the time, I was like, where do I find coffee?
Yeah.
And I was like, you're going to have to leave campus to get coffee.
So we have things like that on our microsite for the specific groups to let them know where they need to go.
Well, there is a Starbucks right by campus now, but there wasn't in 2017.
Yeah. It's a really interesting event. I mean, BYU allows them, actually encourages them to dig up plots in the field west of the stadium. And then as part of the competition, they put it back for training in. So it's, if BYU is willing to let them dig up some of that prized grass, it's a big deal. So that's really everything that we have today. We might have gone a little over on the highlights. I apologize for that. And I believe we do have ability to show that first video that didn't work as well. And then if there's any questions, we're happy to answer any questions that you have. And this was the spring summer preview. So we've got a really passionate group of people, and we're lucky because we have a really amazing place to call home and to promote for visitation.
And thank you for all of your work. You guys do a fantastic job promoting Utah County. Obviously, Brandon and Tom and I think Utah County is the best place in the world to live, work, play, and raise a family. And you guys do a fantastic job of highlighting the play part of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Lee.
All right.
Okay. Moving into the items that were held. Looks like we get to item
We get to start with insurance.
19 and 20. So I think we know what's happening here with between these two events. I guess I might just ask Commissioner Sakovic if he's ready or willing to maybe break a tie, in assuming your stance has not changed from last week.
Correct.
Commissioner
My
Butler.
stance has not changed for last week. I think we should approve it. But I did do research into what has caused this issue and how to fix it.
Yeah, you did mention.
So,
you also spoke with legislators.
yeah, the Government Immunity Act, when it was first passed, this amount was under $2 million. Your standard insurance policy is for $2 million. And when the Government Immunity Act was passed, there was a trigger that ratchets up every year. And when this was first passed, that was below that amount. But due to time and inflation, that amount has ratcheted up to over $3 million. It was, I think it was $3 million last year, and it's just over $3 million this year. Because of a gap, but insurance policies have not changed. So I spoke to several legislators, and I think this next legislative session, I know that's a year away, we could get legislation that would align that liability threshold with your standard insurance policy. So there is a long-term solution, but it's about a year away.
Yeah. Well, and again, my argument is just consistency, right? Understanding that the aggregate limit on most of your commercial policies are the 2 million, and if that's what the county wants to invoke, but if we just keep lowering him based upon,
Now, we could change our policy before then. I mean, the Government Immunity Act is going to be at $3 million, but we could change our policy. Instead of being in line with the Government Immunity Act, it could be in line with the insurance policies, and then we're just risking a little bit of a gap until that law gets changed a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is an
And
option.
for my part, oops, I apologize.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, for my part, I would prefer that we go ahead and stay with the standard policy that we have of was it 2 million here, and be consistent that way, and adjust the future to match what the new statutes will require at the time. So I would prefer to go with Amelia on this one.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I'll make a motion to approve items 19 and 20 at the $2 million.
And I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. So that's 2-1. Thank you. Good discussion, and I would entertain future conversations if we can then with staff to have that changed just for my consistency.
I'm sorry, you just cut out. What was that response, Brandon?
I just said I would entertain future conversations about a change to that policy, not waiting a year for legislative session to adjust.
And I can concur with that, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Item 26, looks like Greg's got some stuff for us on this.
I know you guys wanted to talk about this again, but so this item is before you for changes to the subdivision approval process for the county. It was in regards to the 2023 SB 174 bill that we were required to make changes. There were a couple things that that were brought up, and they were just brought up today that I identified 2 areas that need to be modified. Those changes are in front of you. Because we have 5 different subdivision types, it's in 5 different areas, but the first area is we had a discussion with Public Works, and we initially put in a 40% reduction. This is in the irrigation water requirement, a reduction for that to a minimum of 40% of what was required. They would like to remove that to give applicants the ability to show what would be required for irrigation water that is more amenable to applicants, gives them a little more ability to request a greater reduction if
Was
needed.
this the bill that was passed by, was it Mike McKell was the sponsor?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
The other section is in the same area. There was a location for a different type of reduction for irrigation water, which required the county commission to approve. Because of the way SB 174 is written, legislative bodies were taken out of the approval process. This is just one of those areas that we didn't identify, and we caught it and just wanted to make those changes now. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
I just want to reiterate, it sounds like it's basically a lot of these are they're mandated, state mandated changes, correct?
They're a lot of
Okay.
fun.
Okay, that was,
My guess is a May 1st implementation date. You guys are on top of it, so.
Yeah, we had an up to implementation date. It was actually February. We did get that done for planning commission, but we have been using this to review and approve subdivisions. We haven't had any subdivisions come to approval point to utilize this ordinance. So.
Makes sense. Yeah, I've got no questions. Thank you for your work on this and getting that done in such a timely manner. I'll make a motion to approve.
okay, we have a motion
And I will second the motion.
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, item 29, approve property tax actions included in recommendation letter.
Adam Beck, County Attorney's Office. Commissioners, if you would prefer to go out of order, if there's any items that you'd prefer to touch on first, we can certainly do that. I know that there are a few applicants here that I'm aware of, and so we could just go in order if you'd prefer to do that.
I would like to call out Sonia and/or Timothy Jeffcoat. Are they here? No, I know on that one, the recommendation is deny, but I would like to approve that one. All $35.78 of it.
Mine says $84.
No, so I'm out of order.
Oh,
So it's the
So,
sixth one down.
Commissioner, are you saying you just want to approve just the
Just the
late
taxes.
fees?
Oh, sorry, never mind.
okay.
You're right. I was wrong. You were right.
I just want, that looks like that's the
Put that in the-
Carter.
Put that in the record book.
Oh, you please. I'm not keeping score. Just want to make sure we're
Yeah,
clear.
sorry, the 8482. That's right. I would say I would approve that one in the best interest.
Okay.
Yeah, and for me, I can support that.
Okay, that one. I know Vic's here. What other property owners have we got?
And then I believe Greer is another one.
Here? Okay. Second to last item.
Yes.
It's like $10,117 on that.
Yeah, and Mr. Devano has 4 items. I believe he wants to speak to all of those. So
I'm willing to have Mr. Greer go first.
okay.
And other than Devano and Greer, do we have any other property owners with us? Okay, so just those two, but
Just a housekeeping item. I don't know if you want to do this now or later, but there's a couple incorrect parcel numbers.
okay.
Do you want to do that now or later?
Yeah, let's do it now.
Okay. So for Frederick and Mary Klug,
Mm-hmm.
the correct parcel number is as my research suggests, is actually 45-219-0009. And for Dennis and Lynette Greer, it's 51-167-0018.
Thank you, Bert. Okay. Yeah, let's address the Greers.
Okay. I do want to amend my recommendation. My recommendation would be to abate the difference between secondary and primary on the most recent tax year. However, my recommendation would be to deny going all the way back to 2020. That's what the applicant is asking for. My position is that if with these tax notices, if there's any concerns with the valuation, they need to come before a BOE and have those valuations addressed. It doesn't appear that those things were taken care of in 2020, 2021, 2022. And so with that, I would recommend the most recent year abated the difference between primary and secondary status, but not going as far back as 20.
Do you have that amount? We don't necessarily need it for the motion, but I just wondered if you did.
I don't have it here. Yeah,
I'll just say it as that. Okay.
Can I talk to that?
Yes.
Yeah, come on up.
Yep, come up. State your name for the record and then make your case.
My name is Dennis Greer, and about 4 years ago we bought a condo, and we weren't notified or had no way to know about valuations or whatever. And the condo we live in is a duplex right next door to Ron Hopkinson, and he pays $2,700 a year, and mine was $7,000 a year. And I went to pay it, and they said, your account's totally wrong. And then they said, go over to the assessors, and they said, yes, someone made a mistake and didn't give us the exemption, personal property exemption for the past 4 years, which I knew nothing about. And so that's what I'm pleading for. And so what I'm putting down, I think, is fair. And I just don't understand why we didn't have that exemption in our file.
Okay.
Any questions?
Not right now, but it looks like our assessor is approaching to kind of give us some more context.
I also have that dollar amount.
Oh,
It's
okay.
$3,168.45, and it looks like the remainder of their taxes have been paid up to about a 19-cent difference from the amount that would be abated.
And that's the difference, not the total?
That's the difference, yes.
Thanks,
So
Ezra.
it's a difficult thing that there's a law that says if you don't declare your property as a primary residence, you must be moved to a secondary residence. So as my records show, letters were mailed for the owner to declare, but they weren't returned. So we are obligated to move it to a secondary residence.
I'm half blind. I can't see out of this eye. And so reading any document is very difficult for me.
So that's up to you, what you want to do. But I'm just saying, I'm not advocating one way or another, but it's difficult because the law requires us to move people to secondary residence if they don't sign the proper documentation. So sometimes things happen, but anyway.
Yeah.
So Dennis, what's being suggested by our civil attorney's office is that we abate the last year in the amount of $3,168.45. You've paid up to within 19 cents of that, and so then there would be the rest of that would be abated. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I don't think it's fair.
Okay,
So I don't know what else to say.
sure.
Because, I mean, I didn't have any idea. Because all the other many years we've lived here in another home, one home, we got the exemption. And I thought that would follow through when you bought another place, a condo. And so somewhere along the line, someone dropped the ball and not giving us that when we bought the condo.
Did you sell your old house and then buy the condo?
Yes. 1 minute and 31 seconds away. I've taught 30 years at UVU.
Okay.
We've been here a long time.
Do you, does your condo have a mortgage on it, or when you bought it, did you buy it in cash?
We paid it off in cash in 1 year.
Because oftentimes your mortgage broker will make sure that you're getting the
Sort of help with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we heard something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But somewhere over there, they dropped the ball.
right. Yeah, typically your title company and or your mortgage broker are going to make sure that. So our challenge is that in the way the law is written, it's a shall. If you don't declare it primary, we have to tax it as a secondary. And so it gets very difficult for us to go back to past years because those budgets are already closed and already set. Whereas last year's budget has not been, we haven't put in all of those reports to the state auditor's office. And so that's an area where we have a lot more leeway. And that's why we're proposing to go back as far as we can in that area. It is difficult. We do notice there's two people on yourself, Dennis, and Wynette as well. And typically, oftentimes when we're looking at like a late exception for an approval, the questions we ask is every person whose name is on the title, were they able? So for example, you received a letter in the mail and you've got a blindness issue. I completely understand that. My mother was born half blind. She's legally blind in one eye completely. But when there's another person on the title, typically an extenuating circumstance has to apply to everybody on the title for us to approve an exception to that late exception. So without this extenuating circumstance, going back 1 year is really as far as we can go without creating a significant legal precedent, which is why we're willing to do the $3,168.45 easily. It is incredibly unfortunate that your original mortgage that you paid off within a year, that they didn't catch this. But that's also not within our control.
Real quick, just an update on the rounding. If you include the cents, the exact unowed amount is within 1 cent of what's been paid already. So I would just recommend abating the unpaid amount.
Okay, just abating the unpaid amount.
Yeah, and that's $3,168.64 as of what I can most recently see.
Any questions, Commissioner Sakovic?
Well, I feel sad, but so be it.
Excuse me.
No, I've heard everything. This is very frustrating, and I sympathize, but I think that we need to move forward.
Okay. All right, before we make, obviously, that final motion, Devano's the last
Yes.
the ones you want to discuss?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
And there are four, I think just for, I recommend let's just go one at a time, just so we don't muck this up a little.
Okay. So the first one, Greenbelt.
Yeah, first one is parcel number ending in 0040.
There's there's two that make that green belt.
Yes, there is.
35 is the other one.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, with 0040, that parcel had previously been on Greenbelt, but it was pulled off in 2019. The owner did not appeal it to BOE or to the State Tax Commission. The parcel has remained off of Greenbelt since that time. And because of that, our recommendation is to deny the request.
And is that one of the other ones? I know you said it's 3.5, but is that
Yes, so on the item below,
it's not showing a property number, the 4100?
it's the 0103, I believe.
Okay, so it's the first and second ones.
Or it says,
0040 and 01.
okay, 0103.
Okay.
And those are both Greenbelt?
Okay. That one, he applied for Greenbelt in 2010 and has not been on Greenbelt. He applied in 2010. He was denied in 2011. And so, again, that is our recommendation, is to deny. Because he hasn't been on Greenbelt, he should not be given that Greenbelt preferential tax treatment. That's our recommendation.
Okay, those are those two. And then the other two. Three five's not.
Is
unless-
Rod Mann there? That maybe he could address this. Because I had thought that this had an extensive discussion previously, and I thought we had several answers, so I'm curious where we are with it at this point.
Well, I think on that first one that you're talking about, there are actually two. Where are we here? Is it this one?
Yeah. So
We wouldn't be in Greenbelt unless we had both pieces.
So I think you're just not. I think there were two property IDs on that.
yes,
On that one row.
right here and right here.
And this is all reflected in this one row.
Okay.
It's not the second one. The second one is something else. Because there were 5 properties in total. So I think this one, it just didn't wrap.
Okay. I mean,
That's what I'm
either
thinking.
way, I mean,
I don't think your recommendation changes, but I'm just pointing out that
okay.
the first row is really 2 different properties. On that second column, you're only seeing one of the 2 that are there. Because we're looking at a PDF. I think it was supposed to wrap and didn't.
Okay. No, that's a good point.
Because, like I said, there's the one that's there and then the second one that's not. And I think that's all in that first row.
Okay.
But stays the same, Adam, with item 103 where it says unclear. Is that the 2010?
Yes, it's a
Your-
different parcel. The difference between that and the one above it is that one has never been in Greenbelt.
Okay. But you're saying that on 0040 should have a 035 attached to it?
Correct.
Okay. And that is what came out in 2019
Mm-hmm.
and no appeal. Okay. And then the 0002 property is used for a sales office but not occupied. Not occupied, excuse me.
Yes. Yes, and this parcel has been submitted through the appeals process. He's gone before the Board of Equalization a handful of times, and it's my understanding that he's been denied in those.
Was there an appeal to the state? So confirmed our decision. Okay.
And the fourth, I don't show a property number, but owner states that there is that the lot is not improved and the county overestimated its value. That's the 4,100.
All right.
You got the 10.3 acres that Spanish Fork City, that's on the agenda. That's the property I traded out then, they now have 12.5 acres of doing more. They have the courts, the police, and the city facilities. They're all on that property, just on 100 south and about 600.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we'll get to.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a similar situation where this. It's my understanding this has come before the BOE before, and it hasn't been changed. We believe that the application should be denied.
So this last item, or the fourth, that doesn't have, which parcel property number should
He
it be?
didn't provide a parcel number. It's 220 South Spanish Trail Boulevard in Spanish Fork.
So that's what you're talking about. The 10 acres in Spanish Fork.
10 acres is
Okay.
adjacent to the golf course and the river runs through.
Oh, okay, so that's what's on the 4100.
Was that value appealed by the Board of Adjustments?
Board of Equalization, Ms. Burt. Do you have any idea?
Because the claim here is that it's overvalued. So did that go through the valuation appeal?
Bert Harvey, Utah County Tax Administration Office. To be honest, Commissioner, I would not be 100% sure. I'd have to, unfortunately, I don't have my computer with me and access to.
The one at Spanish Fork, that 10-acre-ish property, that went to BOE. It was initially valued at
There we
like
go.
1.8 million, and it was dropped to 1.2. And Mr. Devano still thinks that's too high, but it was
Okay.
dropped.
But we have gone through the process of
Yeah,
doing an
and then that
evaluation
was
appeal.
appealed to the state, and then they upheld.
Our valuation of 1.2.
Yeah.
Okay.
What, that wasn't. Well,
Well, that means they upheld it.
With the
because they-
recommendation.
Yeah.
But that, you're saying that's not included in any of these, or it is
No,
the?
That's the last one.
I think
the
that's the last
4100.
one.
That is so that 10 acres then that he's addressing is not by the golf course. That's by the Justice Center.
The,
Justice Center's on 12.5 acres, which I own, and
This is the 10 acre.
which is the 10-acre?
This is the 10 acre, the 103. And then there's,
Okay.
then there's this one.
I know where it's at, but
So
that's
the-
what I'm saying is I'm
It
hearing
looks like it's
conflicting.
the second one on the list that's the 10 acres.
Okay.
Okay, so number 2 at the 5,000 is the 10 acres.
That's what it looks like
Okay.
based on. And I happened to be in that hearing, which is the only reason I know. The assessor's office would know typically, but I watched that hearing, and they went from like a 1.8 number to I think it was a 1.2.
Okay.
All three of those were in a hearing under hearing number 1056. The fourth one in there that's missing the parcel number, that parcel number is 25-022-0092. And it also was part of that hearing 1056.
Thank you.
The only one that, when I looked, that was changed was the third one, the 52-693 and 2. And that value was reduced from 409,800 to 395 in the hearing.
And Theron, have those changes been reflected in the county records?
I believe so. I believe Bert makes those changes.
Okay.
He. Well, okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Adam?
When all of these cases, any appeal was made, but the state sent it back for a commission meeting, they upheld the values, and the only appeal would be in the best interest of the county. Correct?
I think it was only in the best interest of the county as well as the interests of the landowner at the time, because we've had a long conversation on this piece, and at one point we had discussed that it would be better in the interest of the people to allow the valuations to adjust for the variety of reasons at the time it was given.
I think the only legal argument is the best interest of the people of the county.
Well, the other legal part is not true. That's true, but it has to do with health.
Sorry, Vic, I'll need you to come up to the mic since Commissioner Sakovic just can't hear what you're saying on Zoom. So I overheard you say that you disagree with the greenbelt status.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I brought witnesses, and I have 50 more witnesses who live along the trail that see exactly what we've done. I've had that property for 20 years or more, and I think it's embarrassing for a few people who try to say that because I've never had anybody ever come out to me and see me or whatever on 7.4 acres. And in order to have greenbelt, Diane's right here, you have to have 5.25. And so that property is adjacent. I've asked the county forever to put the two properties together because there's an old home there that we built originally for the original people who owned the land, and we bought the land and the building, but it was marauded with almost $50,000 of damage, which we had showed pictures and everything else for. And the only people we've had in there has been a keeper, whatnot. We're knocking that down to get out of the greenbelt as soon as we can, as soon as we have a buyer, and the same thing with the one up on the golf course. But the golf course, they're all separate. So, the big thing that happened here is I have been a county taxpayer, and Rod went back and took a look. I've been a good county taxpayer for 40 years almost. 5.5 years ago, I had serious health issues that have haunted me up through this year. And finally, I have a bill of health that says I'm a little negative on my sepsis. I was in the hospital 3 times, nearly died. I had sepsis 3 other times other than that. I brought my cardio surgeon right here, Dr. Badger, well-known, respected, in our area. He's practiced up in Washington, practiced up in Alaska, and taught at the University of Utah. Graduated with his residency at University of W. He's been with me since 2017. And so this is one of the issues that the state realized was this is a health issue. And it's on the forms that we fill out. Is there a health issue? And yes, there's been a health issue. It's been a serious health issue. Everybody out there knows I have paid my way. I've always paid my way. I just paid another $5,000 on my home, that I was able to get. And I have not worked. I'm just starting to work now. I'm just starting to work. And I give this facade of, I have a big voice, I'm a strong guy, but Chris knew about me the whole way, and I wish Chris could have been here because Chris, who at that time, Bert's been a good guy, but Bert doesn't have the following of those years that I was, and especially when I was sick. So he understands. Each one of them I want to talk about separately because they are separate issues. But are we talking about Greenbelt right now, or what are we talking about?
That's exactly my first question, yeah. When is the last time that you applied for Greenbelt for the first property that we're in this conversation?
I've never been out of Greenbelt. I never was out of Greenbelt. Diane arbitrarily took me out in 2019. We had people and we had animals and we had hay growing that we did, and we had 9 burrows, miniature burrows. She doesn't even know that I have a cage area on the backside of the house. And so that's where we had those, and we've had feeding and everything else, and we cut twice. We went into a dry farm, the last part, because I had medical conditions. So a dry farm is nothing different, but we were able to get some small, cuts of grass. I brought my guy right there, so Keith Farley, that lives in Payson, that works with me on that place. I've had his kids come in there to keep the house so people wouldn't maraud it anymore. They totally destroyed, like I told you, $50,000 worth, the young kids at Spanish Fork. And I decided not to prosecute them because I didn't want to change their life because a couple of them were seniors. So I decided not to do that. But this type of thing, can I get out my notes? Is that okay?
Sure. This first property we're trying to decide, you were removed from Greenbelt in 2019. Is that, and there was never an appeal on your behalf?
I have witnesses that
I understand you have the witnesses, but I guess what I'm saying is for us.
I never was out. I've been 22 years there. So I was never out. Arbitrarily done by one person that says she's overworked, has 9,000 places to go and stuff, and so she arbitrarily took it out.
So let's just move past any of that because obviously none of us commissioners were here at that time.
Right.
And so what we have to deal in is the facts that you had then appealed it at that point when you were removed.
I haven't
from
done
Greenbelt?
anything for 6 years. I've been out. I've been inundated. I just haven't done it.
Gotcha.
And I went out of because I had 5 years of taxes. I've never not paid my taxes, but I showed it. I didn't work, and I didn't have the money, and I didn't do anything other than that. Just I cared about my health. mean, if you want to find out about my health, I brought Dr. Badger today, finally, that can talk about every one of these issues, because every one of these issues have to deal with my health. I'm in my 75th year. I know I look like I'm only 50, but that's okay.
No, 76.
Okay,
you told
I
me
know.
76 because you
Just
spent
kidding.
9 months in your mom's belly.
I am.
Yeah.
So I have a list of 1,000 different things here, but it's up to you guys, because you make the decisions. And I brought my folder and everything else to talk about that. So if I could just say, there are 2 properties. I've asked them to be combined forever. They're contiguous. And one has a small house on the part of it. I own a well, and I own 10 shares of Strawberry Water. I says in 1928, these properties were arbitrarily taken out of Greenbelt by the county Greenbelt administration.
Nice.
We have multiple witnesses I've pointed out. We have also used the land for over 22 years. I've had pumpkins, I've had corn, and I've had all magra ever since then, and crested wheat. And so sometimes it grows deep, sometimes it doesn't, but we've always taken it out when we have plenty of animals that we've had. I have sheep from 2018, 2019, 2021, 22. I've had 40 to 80 sheep there at a time, all the way through. So they come in, they go graze the other farm, they come back to us. They go and they graze. I only have to have 9 animals, but I've had 40 to 80 sheep. And that year I only had 10, but I had 9 burros that were there, 5-6 months out of the year. But all the stuff that we cut on the property, which was about 7 acres worth, we took that and we'd leave some there. Right now, you can go there right now and take a look at my first cut that's there on the property on 1100 West, and we've left the bells.
I guess my point to that would be the only way that we go to your property to verify is by you reapplying. And you need to reapply for Greenbelt status. The same as if you want those 2 properties combined, you have to trigger that, right?
Well, I did. I filled that out. I did, Brandon. I did, Commissioner.
Recently,
Gordon.
or just like?
No, I did that like several years ago. I asked it to be done, and then they just kept. Then I got this, and so
Okay.
I haven't done.
Okay.
I honestly haven't done anything. I brought my banker guy here, who also has been with Jerry Duckworth, who has been instrumental in the last 3 to 5 years filling out forms and doing things for me because I wasn't capable to do it, And so I'm just asking. I say, okay, take a look at the conditions. I've been a taxpayer good for 40 years.
And we totally,
Yeah, but I'm saying
we
there's
appreciate
5 years.
But all we can do is like addressing the very first one.
Yeah.
If it's a Greenbelt issue, all I can ask is, you have to reapply for Greenbelt. And that is when Diane goes and verifies.
If Diane made a mistake. I mean, Diane's made a mistake. It's not the first one. She's a human being just like anybody else. And so I was never, to me, I was never out of Greenbelt. And that's the last thing I worried about because we were farming it. And to deny that we farmed anything that year, we did. We did a dry farming, and we cut it, and we took it out to our other, and we also took it out to the 9 burros that we had that were in our cages and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we did all this. I did everything that was possible. The last 8 years or 6 years now, I've had sheep there. Nobody can deny. I have all the pictures. I have everything about it. I may have made the mistake in procedure, but I did not make an honest mistake for my health. And so that's how it is. Either none of these are going to pass if you don't take into consideration that what I've done in my health and the people I brought forth to verify who I was, what happened to me in my life, and my 40-year history of paying the county. So that's what I'm simply talking about.
Did you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you've got pictures and you have all the documentation, is there a reason you haven't filled out the application?
Yeah, because in my situation, when I told about this, I didn't need to have the fill out. I never went out. One person arbitrarily said that I was out. I've never been out. It's amazing. I was in there 15, 16 years before that. But they're all the people that live there. They have no reason to fabricate, and I don't have any reason to fabricate. I'm happy to stand on my own feet right here, and if I did something wrong, I'll do it. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't do that with anything. I didn't fill out my IRS forms. I didn't fill out anything, okay? That's how it's been. And so I've made no money. That's what it's been. So I've been through hell personally. That's why I brought my cardiologist today, because maybe there is a health reason that really exists. So you can have a front and look like you're the greatest guy in the world, and I can do that. But back when I go home, I'm sedate. That's just how it is. I've been with my friends and stuff, and I haven't done anything. I went up with him to go, my cardiologist went up to, when he was up in Alaska, and I had my last sepsis attack where I died almost, there. So I'm just saying in July. And so I'm asking for your consideration, because the thing that can happen here is whether you're in Greenbelt now or out of Greenbelt, the fact of it is there is an allowance for you to allow me to have that Greenbelt move backwards. And when I sell this property, which I want to sell it this year if I can, and I want to do the same thing with the property that I've got from the city, up on the 10.3 acres. And that satisfies any obligations I have. I don't have the money just sitting back to, pay those absorbent, it was over like almost $100,000 for 7.5 acres, 50 and 30,000 and then back fees or whatever. So on 7.5 acres. And I just said, wow, how would I do that? Because I haven't been out. I haven't been out. I haven't been out of Greenbelt. And it's not just Diane's word, it's a word of many of the people who live around there. And I think she made the mistake when she did it, because we pull animals in and out of there. And they go exactly on the south side by the freeway, and you'll see 80 to 100 sheep on the south side of Spanish Fork, just the last up bit where there's a farm there that the other guy has, and we put them out there and they come back. Okay.
So on the first and second one, it's Greenbelt is the basis of the appeal. But on those cases, we don't have a Greenbelt appeal through BOE that I'm aware of. And then the third was, and fourth were both appeals of value, but we actually went through the Board of Appeals and those values have already been adjusted, but
The 1.8 to 1.2 million, and then the 409.8
to 395.
Yep.
395.
But they
So
were-
that's the basis of these 4 appeals,
Yeah.
correct? Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, but there's, first of
That's
all,
what's before us today, yes.
the PF zoning on the 10.3 acres, when I give the city 12.5, they were able to zone, they kept the PF zoning, which means I couldn't do anything. So I went in and out, and I didn't do anything on the 10.3 acres. And then I got ill when we were going to start doing these things, so I delayed that. And so at the also times, I have the red chart here, which shows it's in the 50-year floodplain. And so the city came back this year, when I say this year, 23, came back in 23, and I have the photos of that. They've done the berm. The county came and helped them dig out Spanish Fork River, which is on the upper part of the east side of our property of Spanish Oaks, where they hit over, and they finally dug it out, and they built a big berm. So they dug it out 8 feet and then put a berm up that's 6.5 feet. That you should have, did they give you the photos at all? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at those, you see it. I walk right along there and show you the furthest east side of the property. So that's what I'm saying there, is that property wasn't zoned, and you can't charge a PF zone for a business, It's public facilities. And because the city owned the property and we exchanged, they were able to do what they wanted to do, and they kept the zoning the way it was. And now I'm coming back and I'll say, okay, I want to change the PF zone. I'm ready. I've got the berm done. The 50-year thing is down to 100 now, so we can build out. We don't have to worry about storm drainage and flooding in the future. We did all that. And so the county gets the same amount of money over a period of time, because you're going to have, 70 homes and 10 major lots in there, for that. So the revenue is coming for the county. That's my issue. And but more importantly, this is the first time I've been able to address, like this and talk about my properties and everything else with considerate. Excuse me, buddy. Sorry, that was my fault. Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Alan.
Thank you, Vic. If we
I'm
have
ready to
more
make a
questions,
motion.
I'll
I'm ready to make a motion.
okay.
So, on item number 29, I'm willing to make a motion to accept the tax actions with the exceptions of the corrections on the parcels that were noted by Bert Garfield, and to abate $84.82 for Sonia and Timothy Jeffcoat, as well as abating the difference of the unpaid amount for the Greers.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioner Sakovic?
She said no to. He's asking a question. Yeah.
He's on mute.
Is he done on that? I want you to take a look at the abatement forms and take a look at there. One of the reasons of this, the history was to have health, and that's what happened. I would have been making money and everything else. I've done nothing. I mean, it's,
One
come
sec,
on.
Vic.
Yeah.
Sorry. Tom, can you hear us? If you can, you're muted. Oh, there you go.
I've got it back on. I got it back on.
Okay.
I'm okay to approve the tax actions. What I'm concerned is the private property, the development properties. We've had this discussion now. I've been here 4.5 years, and we have had similar discussions in the past. And the basis for the whole conversation was to make a special exception. And that's really what we're wrestling over right at this point.
Right, and I made a motion. I'm not willing to make that a special exception. I completely understand health concerns. My mother spent all year with pulmonary embolisms and taking care of my brother with stage 5 kidney failure, and she still managed to pay her taxes. So the special exception, health gives you a delay in appeal, but the actual values, health does not change the value of your property.
No, but
And
taking
we've
from
absolutely,
And I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with what your logic is there, but I believe that with the variety of property owners, that we have to keep in consideration exceptions that are not always very clear. And this is one of those that has been to me throughout the whole process. That's not all that clear. And so my feeling is to approve those actions based on that.
Brandon, you live out that way. You know Spanish Trails. I've had it for 30 some years. I have everybody in there except that house. That house has not been repainted, recarpeted, restained and everything on it. There's roof chips all over that need to be done now. And also the whole backyard, we had an estimation of over $26,000 to finish that, do the side yards, get the front yard and everything else done. And the point of it is the county, I haven't had one county person, tell me why, with all the property that we've had, I haven't had one county person say, let's go out and take a look at your properties. Let's see what how do you appraise? So the appraisals were this, take a look. Emily and you and Brandon, you would be mad if they said 0.28. They brought 0.28, 0.30 properties to me and said, well, these are a mile and a half away. But I get 6 units per acre in this subdivision.
So the biggest challenge that I have is basically, there's been no action, and I get because of medical things, but now we're in a place where some actions can be taken.
Yeah.
All we can do today is act upon these 4 parcels, what is being recommended, and then there are the procedures. If we're going to go back into Greenbelt, we have to apply and we have to send the proof, all of the things, but we're just not going to go out and again change your property, combine property parcels without you signaling that, right? And so as you then come to us now that, like you say, we're here having these conversations, the first 2 reapplying for Greenbelt and getting back in that status that was taken in 2019, and then the others, it's really tough for me to. Well, they were reduced at the state level, the values, so there has been that, but then the state recommended back to us.
It wasn't the state that really reduced them. The state really came back to us, and we met with Bert's people and BOE and a few other people. The state sent it back to have you here because of my medical conditions. They couldn't verify my medical conditions. So it doesn't matter what's happened to me, that I've been a great taxpayer for 40 years of my life, and all of a sudden 5 or 6 years go by and I've been bad, and I'm willing to pay all that moving forward. But what I am saying is I shouldn't have to pay back taxes on something because if we don't have, I'm just talking about, I've been here a lot. If we don't have compassion for people or whatever, and I have 37 grandkids, great-grandkids and kids, and I have to every day decide how I'm going to handle them. And each one of them is a little bit different, and the conditions are different. This one is a definite medical condition that I've had. And I'm the first one that never wanted to have that. I had to have a heart replacement. I mean, come on, guys. Think about it, Emily. I would let her, your mother isn't in the same situation. I've got multiple properties and stuff like this where I've paid 40 years and I've been a good taxpayer. And all of a sudden a medical condition happens and now I'm here saying, okay, I can move forward and start paying, but let's be reasonable where they were. The one house, first of all, that's the sales house. The second one was the property sitting there at .40 doesn't have any of the improvements in it. They have to be improved, and everybody has dumped on that for 20 years now. And so the estimation was for sidewalks, curb gutter, and getting all of the utilities in there, cleaning it out and whatnot was $70,000. Everything, okay? The other ones have already had a building permit. And so they went to 175 and I only asked for 110. I said, come on, that's what I said.
So, okay.
Motion has been made.
Motion on the table. I'll second the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 What's the motion?
Commissioner Sakovic? You're muted.
Well, he's trying to find himself.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve deny the appeal.
So there was a motion and a second, and that's what we were voting on. Did you need Commissioner Gardner to restate her motion?
Vote no.
Oh, okay, so your vote is in opposition.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, understood. Okay, so that
Sorry about that.
the tax actions as included with the recommendations noted are approved 2-1, so.
So let me ask you this. The thing was discussed, and I think, Brandon, you were in part of a discussion was talking about, and with the county attorneys when I was over them, talking with them, was that I'm ready to move forward, but I need to move back my payment schedule. And so are you going to try to take my properties from me and that because they were not paid? Or what are you doing? That's what I wanted. That's why I'm really here, because now I'm in the 6th year all of a sudden. And you don't care about witnesses or anything else. I'm not bombarding you. I'm just telling you facts. I have 50 people who will come to this next meeting and will tell you from 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20 what we did.
And I don't want to discount any of that.
No.
But again, there were many actions that could have been taken.
But they weren't. I didn't do any action
that haven't, and that's why I made, my decision.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but if you're asking,
I need time. That's what I'm asking.
About different things, I know that the different departments can discuss with you options from now on. That's really where we got to go from here. If we want to get back in Greenbelt, you got to reapply, and then just continuing to communicate. So, thanks, Vic.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 32.
Jesus Christ.
Jim.
Jim Evans, Executive Director with America's Freedom Festival, and just wanted just a quick update, and then I know you have the action before you, but it's on, the festival, the committees are working, all 30 events are going to happen again this year. A couple of things of interest to you, the gala this year will be on the 2nd of July, a Tuesday night, and we already have another World War II vet that's going to come, 100 years old plus. It's going to be here for that. We have some from Arkansas 9 we're going to honor. We have a lady from the women that actually freed POWs. We just have a really great group of 4 honorees this year, and I tell you that because commissioners helped us sponsor that, which we really appreciate for our community. The Stadium Fire will be actually on the July 4th this year on a Thursday night. Mm-hmm. So just to make you be aware of that. And if I was here 2 more days from now, I could tell you who the talent is. but it'll be announced at 6
Can you
p.m.
tell us yet who the talent is?
It'll be at 6 p.m. on KSL News, TV News, so we can talk all about it after that. But just we're grateful for the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of volunteers that continue. The committees are working for the parade and all the different things. I know you received a report, but for the records, we figured close to 600,000 people participate in all the different events that we have as we do the surveys and the different folks. So it's just we're grateful to be able to have the support of you and the community and all the other groups and the citizens, many people, citizens that are founders that sponsor and help the event as well. So I just ask, other than who the talent is, are there any questions that I can answer?
No, I just want to thank you for working so hard to get sponsors, including us, to keep as many of those events free as possible. I know my children have always loved the colonial days and the great learning experience that is. We've got ancestors on the Mayflower, and it's really, really great to be able to go and see. You know, last year they had a tent that had a write-up on every person in the Mayflower, and I was able to point out to my kids, you know, this is the person we are descendant from, and they were able to read those stories, and I think that's very impactful. So I love that colonial days and a lot of those events are free and that they're family friendly, and just the cultural enrichment that brings our community, as well as the travel and tourism that brings our county, are just phenomenal. And we appreciate you for all the work you do.
Thank you. And I might mention you're the major sponsors of the gala, but you also help with that as well there at the Sarah Park, which we appreciate that as well. And I'm just thrilled to be a part of this and all the wonderful citizens that helped to see this happen. I might mention the ticket prices at the stadium are staying the same this year. We try to keep the prices down as best we can so families can come. You know, what we found out is about 50% of people come to the Stadium of Fire no matter who's performing. Commissioner, you and I could do a soft shoe.
Yep.
And of course, you probably would do a great one, and they want to come. And then about 50% come for the talent. That rotates every year, but we've sold out the last few years, and we'll continue hopefully this year to sell out again. And we're just excited for all the events, the parade, the Freedom Run. Last year, over 4,000 runners for that. About 10,000 people every year for the Balloon Fest, and we'll pray for good weather so the balloons can go up every day. So anyway, thank you for your support and considering this agreement we've had for several years.
Thank you. Public Works told me they've got some work to do around these grounds here, and they're waiting until after the party's over.
Yeah, I don't blame them. In fact, the stadium is putting in new grass, a new field, and we're the first ones on it, so we're going to try to be really careful so that field's ready for football in the fall as well, too. So, and we think around the grounds here that the Freedom Days this is a wonderful gathering place for those 3 days. This year it will be the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, so the day before the 4th, and the day after, so just to let you know. So,
yeah, I know the restaurants down here sell out of food regularly during that.
We're glad, and we work with them as well, too, to make sure there's access to the restaurants during that time.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate
that.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 32.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry.
We got a motion.
No, go ahead. And I can approve. I can second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Is there anyone that would like to address the commission in public comment? Seeing none, we will go into closed session. Thank you, everyone.